I've heard you talk about how we bring compassion into our everyday lives.
Mm.
So the example I'd like to give is that, that we all think we maybe should donate more to charities or we should volunteer more, all that. But I think that everyday life calls us to find where we're working on our compassion quotient when we come across a homeless person. Now, there's not one of us that doesn't have to work around or step over a homeless person and hurt somewhere in our heart, our shared humanity. Talk to us about finding compassion in everyday life.
Hmm. Right. I'm going to begin again. As a pastoral counselor, I guess I always start with the person. We thrive when we can be compassionate towards ourselves, not exclusively towards ourselves, but to ourselves. We have lived lives where we have struggled, where we have made mistakes, where we have received countless slights, where we have been rejected, where we've had unmet expectations. And these things begin to wear us down and wear on us. And so to be able to say, I am none of those things define me. Maybe at some point I thought they did define me, and I acted out of those hurts. I acted out of those wounds and those unmet expectations. But through mindfulness, I think mindfulness is a very powerful practice. We can see, oh, these are things that I experienced, but they don't define me. And even in the acceptance of not being defined by those things, that in itself is an act of self-compassion. And when we have experienced self-compassion in that way, I think it kind of brightens our eyes so that we can see when other people are deluded, if you will, by their self-concepts wrapped around past wounds. For example, oh, I can't do that because of something that happened in the past. Or I am unworthy of receiving that kind of grace because of the mistake that I made 30 years ago. And for then us as friends, I will say as friends, yes, unconditional love, loving friends can say, you know what? I see how you're limiting yourself. I see that you've put a roadblock in your path. And I'm curious about that. What leads you to believe that you're not able to do that? And then really be attentive to the narrative that's coming forth. And then say, you know what? I heard you. I understand it. That was painful. It got in the way of you doing the things you want to do. And I want to let you say, I've been free of that narrative. I never knew about that narrative until now. Here's what I see in you. And take that step, and I will be there with you when you get there to celebrate that you took that step.
I love this notion of telling others what we see in them. You know, this is quintessential in my life as a healthcare provider. My husband and I are both dentists,
Mm-hmm.
and we built a practice around finding something to celebrate with every single patient.
Right.
Anything, large and small. But that was part of it, is just knowing that part of my job to get through a hard thing, like we all have to have at the dentist, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
To get through that, it was so much kinder to find some place where I made sure that they knew what they brought out in me, that
Mm-hmm.
they were welcome in this space with me. And how about the kind of people who just go ahead and say, that's what I love about you. I mean, we always love to be around people that point out our inner beauty, right?
Yes.
And maybe the head talk, maybe it's us. It's our mental chatter that's driving us down
It
more than
does
we,
often. It does
right?
often, especially if it's negative.
Yeah.
Right. But
Yeah.
sometimes we create a habit of negative talk to protect us, right, from experiencing additional traumas and additional hurts, right? So it's, for some people, it's also acting as a buffer against pain, or a way of convincing us that We're just safer if we stay put. And that's an act of love, but it also is not always an act of truth.